5:31. We'll jump right on into roll call. Eric.
Here.
Joey.
Here.
Tanya.
Here.
Edgar.
Here.
Dane.
Here.
I'm here. Alex.
Here.
Dr. Kennedy. Lacey.
Here.
Kane.
Present.
Kirky.
Here.
Greg.
Here.
Vinay.
Here.
Patrick.
Here.
Brandon.
Here.
Awesome. If everyone could look over tonight's agenda, I'll entertain a motion for approval whenever ready. Eric makes a motion, Kane seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? Any abstaining? With that, the motion passes. If everyone could look over the minutes from the previous meeting, which would have been last Wednesday and Monday. Brandon? Brandon moves, Eric seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes? All those opposed? Any abstaining? With that, the motion passes. Let's jump right into reports. I don't have any tonight.
Oh, sure. The only brief thing I have right now, I have some communication received I'll share later, but again, I apologize I wasn't here Monday since the last minute. But did want to, again, just kind of follow up and reiterate what I put in the email that I sent out to everyone again, appreciating everyone's kind of response last week. I know it was a difficult situation within that, making sure you all know, again, there's resources on campus if anyone does need to talk to anyone. You can always reach out to me as well. I do know faculty had two open forums earlier this week. Students have tomorrow evening, one that's open, and then staff also have one on Friday if there is any. Again, knowing that everyone kind of processes differently, but giving them the opportunity to be able to talk about the situation. But again, I appreciate everyone and how they handled the situation last week. So thank you all.
All right, I just want to remind everybody that we have $48,502, and we have about $9,800 on the docket for approval tonight.
This is the first call for public comment. Is there any public comment at this time? Okay.
I would just like to reiterate, as Joey said, that tomorrow, 5 p.m., 6:30, Cirque Pit, Student Government's hosting an open forum for students to come and voice concerns and question.
All right. Last call, public comment. All right, let's go right on into old business, subsection A, supplemental funding request voting. We'll start with request 1932, the Creative Video Project, in the amount of $1,430. Table's open for discussion.
So I had a question about how the sources of revenue were adding up. I wasn't entirely sure how that broke down between undergraduate research and academic study and us. Because originally was it the 800 that we were?
Well, I was just going to say, so what they reduced their cost overall, so it was $3,500, and now they've reduced it, and they're basically haven't requested for an academic senate yet.
Okay.
So they're asking for the whole amount outside of the undergrad research, and they're still waiting to hear back if they've received that. They've submitted her presentation said that she had submitted everything, she just hasn't received it yet.
Brandon.
Just kind of talking about her idea. I think it's pretty incredible and one of a kind. No one's ever done this before. And then the idea of branching two different departments, especially school business and music, I really want to see that ever. So to kind of possibly fund this and see like a different type of collaboration that we've never seen before at Central could be pretty incredible. And just the impact of that alone. And then the impact on her and her crew, especially for the type of like industry she wants to go into in the future. This is kind of like her shot. Like this is like the big thing that could like get her in, maybe get her a job and a possible career in what she wants to do.
Brandon.
I motion to allot the full amount of $1,430.
Brandon moves, Dane seconds. Is there any discussion? Eric.
What impressed me that as she was requesting money from us, she was trying to figure out ways to reduce costs all around. I find that very important.
Any further discussion? All right, seeing none. All those in favor of approving in the full amount? All those opposed? All those abstaining? And with that, the motion passes. Now we'll move on to supplemental funding request 1933, the Clifton Strength Training for the international student staff. Kane.
I think it was something that, having personal experience with going through this training, that it really did help me develop professionally, personally. And I think for those students that are supporting our international students, which is a very important proposition of students that are here on campus and experiencing our culture and learning about how we do things in American culture, that this is something that can definitely support them, especially since those student staff are there to support all of the international students.
Brandon.
Yeah, I also like the idea of this will definitely unify the whole department as a whole. AUAP student or workers and then the ISS employees really haven't had any interaction with each other, but through this they will. They'll spend plenty of time, and I think that'll make them more of a cohesive department.
Eric.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the full amount requested of $131.89. 132.
Okay, so Eric moves, Alex seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? All right, any abstaining? And with that, the motion passes. Now we'll go into supplemental funding request 1934, the 2019 Oregon Short Film Festival for the Wildcat Film students. It is open for discussion. Eric.
Wow. That they are, amongst a group where I think he said over 2,000 people sent in projects, and they only chose 178 of those 2 or so thousand. I think that's very important. Put Central's film program on the map is something that we want to do. We want to bring other students here to be part of that program. It's quite exceptional.
Okay.
I think too, in their presentation and showing of their short film, that they have very clear passion for this and passion then for bringing it back to the students who are in the film program now. So they may be graduating, but I see that I have no doubt that they will bring this back and really encourage their lower classmen students to engage with this and really put big effort into it and show that when they do it, it'll pay off consistently.
Alex.
Yep, I think just reiterating, I was very impressed with it. I'm looking forward to the showcase at the end of the year. I'm glad we got to hear about that. I think it'd be cool to see that. I also like to see that they're contributing their own personal funds. I think that it just shows how invested they are.
I motion to allot $756.
So Brandon makes a motion, Eric seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? Any abstaining? With that, the motion passes. Now we'll move on to request 1935, the MECHA National Conference, in an amount of $7,500. Eric.
I like to see that they were serious about having a process to choose people where they are using advisors, a former member of MECHA to make the decisions, so where they're just not, okay, who wants to go, and if you do this and do that, you do, they actually have an interview process. And I find that very important. Also, as a side note, that they have, doing fundraising, that they have, they have an amount of money, they can give everyone a little bit to cover some of the meals, and that's important.
Kane.
I think too that MECHA is something that impacts a large group of students on campus, and hopefully the group that goes will bring back substantial workshops and different information that will help support their organization and those students.
Eric.
I'd like to make a motion for us to fund the full amount of $700 to $500.
Eric moves, Brandon seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving in the full amount? All those opposed? All those abstaining? And with that, the motion passes. Now we will move into new business, subsection A, the base funding program reviews. We start off with the academic counselor for the West Side, and Scott Carlton is giving the presentation.
Yeah. Not that one, that's Vicky's. I don't know, Vicky may want to go first, but mine's the short one.
The short one.
The short one.
Oh, right here.
That
The
one.
one that was hovering over the whole.
I know, I know.
I think that is the ticker over there.
Okay. My name's Scott Carlton, the Director of Professional Advising. I oversee 17 different staff who work with advising. Which one of these? This just gives you an idea of the organizational chart for my area, which shows that I have staff who work for a variety of the colleges here on campus, online, and then over at the centers and transfers. So specifically the Linwood Center is the position that S&A does have funding for, along with goods and services. We serve about 300 students at the Linwood Center with this position, and we've been getting funding since 2008 for this position. Actually, that's how it was created. Many years ago was by getting S&A funding. That's how we got our second position over at the centers. We do not employ any student staff. This is strictly funding for that one position. We work closely with career service staff there, along with student affairs, and promoting activities for students and working with them. We also, as you say, with support retention and engagement and learning process. The advisor there, we do surveys to check to see how student satisfaction is with the staff, and just so you know that we've been doing this for about 1.5 years with student surveys. They've almost consistently increased satisfaction each quarter that we've done it. And then we currently, besides the S&A funding, we get $31,900 from multimodal. That is, again, for a half position in my office for an online position. And then we get a little bit over $1.1 million for the rest of which is primarily salaries for the staff, and then our goods and services. So it's a very specific targeted area that we fund with the S&A money. So that's pretty much it. It's a pretty quick presentation because it's pretty limited in scope. So do you guys have questions about the position, about what we do with the funding? I think you might take a look at, we did indicate how we spent some of the goods and services. You will see that almost all of it is exclusively travel. And that's because this position will also go to Des Moines or Pierce to help support those students, support with orientations. It's coming to Ellensburg for meetings. It actually helps pay for me to go to the West Side to see staff and support them. But it's almost exclusively for travel, for conferences also. They usually go to the NACADA conference, which is a national academic advising conference, so they go to the regional conference virtually every year. And so that's really where all the funding goes. Questions, thoughts, concerns?
Okay.
Just the peer advisor that says it's vacant on the org chart, is that something that was supposed to be funded through this too, or just,
No, that is, did you say peer advisor or?
That's the other org chart.
is it?
That's career services.
Never
Yeah.
mind. Just curious.
Yeah, sorry, no. I do have a vacant position, but not one that you guys fund. Yeah, yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, I knew it'd be quick. Okay, thank you, everybody. Thanks,
So next we have a base funding program review from Career Services, the West Side Counselor with Vicki. And the clicker's right there.
So I'm Vicki Snood, the Director of Career Services, presenting on behalf of Meredith Rennick, who's our 10-month counselor, Assistant Director at Linwood, and Angela Engel, who's our 12-month career counselor / Assistant Director at Des Moines, and also covering Pierce. So we've also received funding since 2008. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. We do have 3 peer advisor positions. They are currently not filled because we're still looking for qualified applicants. The salary is Seattle wage, $50 an hour. So how do we decide on our programming? Usually by who comes to the stuff that we put out there. The department and faculty demand. We work very closely with faculty. We have different majors on each campus, so we try to fill the programming depending on those majors. And then Angie and Meredith have really good relationships with clubs and employers, so we figure that out. And also every year we meet to talk about our goals. Soliciting input through surveys, talking to the clubs, like I said, the faculty. And then we've just implemented this quarter quarterly surveys of our students as well, so we get feedback that way. And those are online. Here's an example of collaboration with different employers for field trips, workshops, and what we call boot camps. Those are usually attached to a major. So you can see a variety of employers, but we also get a lot of school districts down for Pierce and Des Moines, and a lot of accounting firms as well. More than are listed here, for sure. Lots of collaboration with faculty. So right now we're doing a lot of prep for the education fair. That's on the main campus, but they're preparing on the west side as well. The college business, of course, big major on that side of the mountains. So a lot of prep stuff for them. And then some for the College of Science, because there's only IDS and psychology, I think, on those campuses. And maybe sociology. Student services, so working with student life, the Veterans Center, advising, international advising, the library, and the Writing Center to do various workshops. And second year we're doing language etiquette there. Collaboration with community colleges, so our staff there also help with these events through the community colleges. Learning objectives for student employees, very similar to the peer advisor model that we have on the main campus. So helping those students become role models, gaining professional experience, learning how to do things like resume and cover letter reviews, mock interviews, and how to use the technology that we have, also working as a member of our team. So all peer advisors are considered a member of the career services team. Then we also have learning objectives for our class and our workshops. So obviously everything is connected to careers, how to have a plan, that's a big part of that, and compiling a portfolio to be ready to get a job or an internship. Our numbers, you can see it for what it is. We continue to work on data collection. We haven't found one method that collects all the data that we need. So 2017 to 2018 is coming out of advising notes, which we're just trying to learn whether it collects emails and phone appointments to the best of its ability. We have another data collection tool that does that, but you can see that it's slightly decreased over the last 2 years. And personally, I think that's reflective of the move to more online campuses on the west side rather than face-to-face at those campuses. Oops, sorry. We're doing a big push to reach out to online students who are assigned to the west side campuses right now to show them that they can still use our services, because we do that all the time. Skype, Zoom, phone, email. So a lot of our work is that, but that's kind of the face-to-face numbers right there. And then how do we tie it in university goals? We're right in there. So the first one there, 1.3, post-graduation job and graduate school placement roles. That's a lot of what we do. And then this one, 1.2, use and effectiveness of student programming, career services is mentioned there. And the last one, 4.1, career services, especially on the west side, has a lot of interaction with employers. So Mary and Angie do a lot of stuff to build our database of connections and bring those employers in to various events. Questions? I think we have our other data. So, any questions?
Patrick?
So I'm not sure I understood what counted as a student contact. Does that mean 2,000 different students were interacted with by your office? Or does that mean if I call on Tuesday and Wednesday, I'm a student?
So they're not unique counts. They are, yeah, so they're together. Does that make sense?
It's a measure of effort. It may have been 1,000 students.
Correct,
or something.
multiple times. And so
I see.
the research shows that most students use career services the average 5 times. So it could be small numbers, but there are small numbers at those centers too. So, other questions?
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
So now let's jump into new business subsection B, supplemental funding request presentations. And we will start with request 1933, the NASP conference for the School Psychology Club. You have 10 minutes to present and 10 minutes for questions.
We don't have a formal presentation, but, so the NASP conference, NASP stands for the National Association of School Psychology. We have a graduate program over in the psychology building, and we're 2 of the grad students representing that program. We have this year's 8 students going to the NASP conference. 6 of them are going to be presenting. 2 are undergrads, and then we have 6 graduate students. And it's going to be held in Atlanta, Georgia from February 26th to March 1st. So next week. And so the NASP conference itself, all the attendees will be attending sessions, workshops, lectures, research-based workshops and sessions as well. So we get to see a lot of the most current research, trends, whatever is up and coming. Anyway, so yeah, so it allows us the opportunity to network over 5,000 people around the United States that our school sites attend the conference. There's a lot of networking involved, a lot of professional development for everyone that attends. We get to bring back a lot of resources for our clinic, which serves the community as well, because we do a lot of assessment stuff for outside of Central and as well as for Central. Yeah, and grad students get a lot of the networking and professional development opportunities through that. Our presentations allow us to represent Central because we have 2 2 research groups that are going to be presenting this time. 2 of them are from undergrads and the other 4 are graduate students, so projects that they've been working on, we get to showcase. Yeah.
Brandon.
Can you tell me what the 4 presentations are?
There's 2 presentations where there's 6 people that are going to be presenting them total. So the first one is an undergrad group. I'm actually not sure what their topic is on, but the graduate student group, we are involved with that as well, and they did a study from the NASP selection of school sites. So they pulled members from that, and they did a survey to see kind of school sites' perceptions on ELL assessments. And so we have results from that that we'll be presenting in tables and poster format.
Hey.
So yellow or love, right?
Yes.
But you don't have a color count. So do you not have a color count, or is there just no funds?
I don't think we have any funding right now.
No. Greg.
Is there a budget? Am I missing something here?
Section
Oh. That's true. Did I not stand this? So there is a budget. It's on the back page, which didn't scan, yes. So there's flights, hotels, and a conference fee. And the total per person, it says, is $894.
How much?
$894, which 400 of that is the flight per person, and then $380 is for the hotel, and then the conference fee is $114, and it's eight total students.
Yes.
Yes.
And what are the dates?
It's in February 26th to March 1st.
Edgar?
So up here it says 24 to 28, February. Who? All right,
It's February 26th to March 1st.
okay. Under the who thing it says
Yeah.
the conference is the 24th
28th.
to the 28th.
No, that's to the 1st.
Edgar?
So for the conference fee, does that like, give you a membership, or is that just to get into the conference?
So we have memberships. If you're not a member of the NASP, then the membership or the conference fee is much higher. It's like $400. But since most of us I think are registered with NASP, ours was $114.
Any further questions? Seeing none, we'll be voting on this next week. Thank you. Next is supplemental funding request 1937 for the Shape America Conference for the PESH Association.
I have a PowerPoint. Yep, I'll go ahead and put this like that. Yeah, this is that. This one has to send it to you. No, but I know
You can browse it.
That darn cat.
Yeah, so we need to talk to the student involved, student staff. It's the person at the table.
I mess with your settings, yeah.
Hi, my name's Haley Byron. I'm the president of the PESH Association.
My name is Zach Pollock. I'm the Vice President of the Pest Association.
I'm Colton Boyle, a member of the Pest Association.
CJ Waterman, I'm also a member.
Rachel, I'm also a member.
Kyle Leonardo.
So we wanted to start by saying that this will be the 6th year that Central Washington has been represented at a Shape America conference, and we're super excited about that. And I heard that you guys don't have the breakdown of the numbers, so kind of wanted to give you guys like a little heads up. There was a little dip in our Club Senate funding. We had a Club Senate senator who, under my impression, was going to every meeting. Just recently found out that he went to the first meeting and hasn't attended since, and I will take 100% full responsibility for that. Should have been checking in with him and should have known prior. So that $2,000 that we are losing, we are supplementing with the $1,000 in our account, and we also have one current fundraiser going, and one that's in the books. We're working on it still right now. All right, that's the clip room.
It's the side button.
I got it. It took a little while. Okay, who is Pesh? This is Pesh. This is an old picture. This is our cohort. We're a cohort-based program. We're down to 29 students now, which is a really large cohort for Pesh. And we're just a bunch of dedicated individuals who are really excited to learn and really passionate about teaching. We are excited to expand our knowledge and pass along our passion for physical education, sports, and health to our students. Alrighty, who is going to the Shape America conference? We have 12 students going, which is really cool for us because 11 of us are seniors. And 7 of those 11 are actually student teaching in the fall. So everything we learn, in this up and coming conference, we're gonna apply straight into our student teaching coming up in this fall. So that's really, really exciting for us. This is a picture actually from last year's conference. And this is Dr. Judy Beard and Dr. Mark Perez, and they actually had the opportunity to present at Shape America last year in Nashville, Tennessee. And some of us went to their presentation, and it was super, super cool. All right, what is Shape America? So Shape America is the Society of Health and Physical Educators, and it's an organization of physical educators and health professionals that create programs, resources, and they advocate for all levels of physical education and school health. So that starts in kindergarten and finishes in college. They're focused constantly on us as students, our physical literacy, as well as our social health. There's also an affiliate of Shape America, and it's called Shape Washington. It's our own version of Shape America. And we're super fortunate because our very own professor is actually the president of Shape Washington. She just recently got elected, and that's a really big thing for us. Shape America does generally the same things as, Shape Washington does generally the same things as Shape America. We're more focused on the community-based state standards versus national standards, things that are going to affect our state or things that are going to affect our community personally versus the nation altogether. When? That's a great question. It's April 8th to the 13th, and it's in Tampa, Florida. So we're all super excited about that. Get out of the snow, get the sun. A huge thing for us is missing class. We're cohort-based, and we don't miss class. Any of us ever, super noticeable if we do miss class, right? Our professors wanted us to go to this so badly that they rearranged our class schedule so that we could teach our college course this quarter. So everybody that's standing up here with me right now, we're all currently teaching a PE course for the school rather than teaching it in the spring, so that way we wouldn't take away from our students. So that was pretty cool of them, and they're very encouraging of us going. The other thing is our next quarter, we've already discussed with all of our professors, anybody taking extracurricular classes, we're all signed up, and we've communicated with all of our professors about not being there, things we need to do in advance, things we need to do after, all that good jazz. Why? Why do we go? Biggest thing, professional development, and all of the things listed below are going to be things that help us with our professional development. Like I said, 7 of us are going to be student teaching this fall. Networking is huge. Finding jobs in the physical education and school health department is not easy, because if you think about it, how old was your PE teacher? How old was your school health teacher? Maybe they were young when you got there, but they're probably still there, right? They hang out for a long time. It's a really awesome profession. So finding people that are going to get us jobs, right? We want to get in there. We want to do what we know now. New technology. The PE is kind of a funky spot for technology because there's constantly new apps being made that we'll never know about. But this conference is filled with lectures based on the newest upcoming technology. The other thing is there's a lot of big technology that kind of stays in the same software for a really long time. And Polar actually released this brand new beautiful software where all the students get a watch, and you can watch their heart rate, you can watch the amount of calories they burn on a projector. It's all hooked in, it's all linked up, it's all Bluetooth from their watches to the program. And it's amazing to see how much those kids want to push themselves to see their numbers go up and to see their colors change. Because when they're in green, it means they're working really hard, and when they're in red, it means maybe we need to step it up a little bit. Another thing that's really big for us right now is management techniques. We're all in practicums with teachers that have their own management strategies that we have to conform to. The more we learn, the more prepared we are. The more tools we have in this belt, the better our classrooms are going to be this upcoming fall or this upcoming winter when our students get to do their student teaching. Implementing big brands. I know you guys have all heard of Fuel Up to Play 60. That's a huge thing in PE and health right now, but they don't come to you. You have to go to them. You have to know what steps to take in order to get them to help you, in order to get them to give you their resources to implement into your classroom. And actually last year I was fortunate enough to go to the Field and Play 61 as well as the jump rope for heart. So it was really interesting hearing what they, as teachers who are currently using it, had to say about the program. Adaptive PE. We are actually all currently in an adaptive PE practicum as well, and we visit adaptive PE classrooms once a week and spend an hour with them. But other than this little practicum that we're doing right now in this one class for adaptive PE, we actually don't get the chance to interact with those students or learn about those students, how to cater to those students and all that good stuff. So that's a really big thing that we're really looking forward to about this conference is we get to learn how to handle those situations. And resources. Last year, I had the opportunity to go to Nashville, and I got 2 free textbooks, 3 free curriculums, and just plethora of phone numbers for companies that sell equipment. People that sell technology like the Polar watches, different off-brands of that, different kinds of equipment for special needs students, adaptive PE, and all that. This picture, whoa, back, sorry. I've never used one of these things before. This picture was from a seminar that I attended about a woman who was just teaching us how to teach dance. Students absolutely despise dancing, and I have never had so much fun dancing in my life. And she did this super cool warm-up activity. It was, how does dance make you feel? And you probably can't see it, but like this one right here says scared to death. This one says looking goofy. This one says free, awake, young. Those are all things that we want to make our students feel, but we won't have the chance to learn about this without going to this conference. So I kind of told you a little bit about what I was really excited about from last year. That dance one was my favorite thing by far, and that as well as getting the chance to learn about the adaptive PE. And Zach's going to tell you something about what he really enjoyed last year.
So it was the full experience for me. Being able to go in and network was such an exciting experience. I'm still in contact with someone I met from Shape America last year in Nashville, and I was able to learn a lot about this technology he was designing, and we all, several of us actually, were able to use it. And using an Xbox Kinect, at that point he was still using from the Xbox 360, and now he's used the common Xbox One, but it tracks your body's movement, and it's able to grade the form of lifting, jumping, jogging, skipping, which takes a big part of the subjective part of our job away and makes it objective and really levels the grading field. So you can look at improvement, which I was really excited about. Also, I want to touch on the planning real quick. So this has been in the works for us since we got back last year. As the president and vice president-elect, we've had meetings with Dr. Ward, who's in charge of our association directly, as well as Dr. Heidi Play, who's in charge of our whole department. So like Haley said, it was touching on being able to adjust our classes. It's been a long process being able to go through Dr. Liang, Dr. Perez, Dr. Ward, and Dr. Play, being able to get these 12 students who are going to this conference to teach our practicum at the university, which is generally our spring practicum, our last thing in the winter, and doing our health practicum in the spring, pardon me. So it's really been a lot of work and labor intensive from the top of our association all the way down to each individual member.
I was also able to go to Nashville last year for the conference, and one of the big things for me was connecting and getting established in the community of the profession that I want to go into right before we start our careers. And really SHAPE is the governing body of that. professional career. And so getting involved with them, seeing how their processes work, they really decide a lot for how Washington State and the whole nation does PE and health. So just getting involved with that now is huge for the rest of our careers.
I'm Rachel.
You're out of time.
Oh, are we? No worries.
Don't.
Perfect.
Sorry.
There's more.
More good things.
We're super excited to go, so we can keep talking about this for
Yeah,
hours, sorry.
exactly. Can I add one small thing just about budgeting stuff? Is that okay with everyone?
Do we want to extend for like, or just let them do their thing?
30 seconds. That's all we can.
Okay, 30 seconds.
First time I'm like trying to get about funding, because I know you guys don't have that resource sheet on yet. I have all the paperwork, everything is paid for. I have every single penny that every single person spent, and the only thing that we are asking of you guys to cover is going to be the plane tickets, as well as a partial of the housing that we're going to do. And instead of staying in a hotel, which I found is, wow, very expensive, I found a house that cost $1,800 for all of us to be there for the entire week. So that really cut our budget down a lot. Just want to add that little snippet, sorry. Thank you,
Were there
guys.
any
Oh,
yeah,
questions. Eric.
How did you determine who would be going to this event?
Yes, that's a great question. So we actually have 25 to 27 members in the PESH Association. It kind of depends who can make the meetings and when. But we have a point system. Every meeting they attend is a point. If they attend an event, it's 2 points. Every quarter they have to bring in 2 canned foods to be able to be a part of our club, and that's a point. So the only students that we've requested funding for are the top 12 students that have been involved and engaged in our club for the entire year.
Edgar?
And that 12 was set a long time ago, before all the planning, before setting up our classes, because the 12 that already had the most points come the start of last quarter, we started doing our practicum because we were already ready and making those steps.
Yeah. I saw another hand somewhere.
Edgar.
So, did you guys send anybody to Club Senate tonight?
Oh, we're hustling there. I talked to. Is that his name?
Oh, Michael?
No, it wasn't Bailey. It was Joey. No, maybe not. But he was gonna talk to Bailey about what was going on, because he was like, "Did you get this email? Did you get that email?" And I was like, "I have not an idea what you're talking about," because the person that was supposed to be going wasn't forwarding the emails. So we're resolving that right now. Did you have another question?
Yeah.
Edgar, then Eric.
So, I mean, I think you have enough time to get back in good standing. Would that be, if you guys?
Yeah.
That's our intention.
Yeah, that's the
Absolutely, yes.
intention. They just, I just recently talked to them earlier this week, and they didn't want to promise me anything until he had a chance to talk with Bailey and really problem solve, figure out if that was something that they were willing to do, because as of right now, we are in very low standings.
So if you guys were able to get back into good standing, would that be another funding?
Yes, and so they're budgeted into the expense report that I submitted to you guys. It was just a shock for me to not have that connection with them anymore, you know what I mean?
Eric.
And if I'm not mistaken, you do not have the same problem in the academic center, correct?
That is correct.
Correct.
Yes.
We have a
Are
very
you on
reliable
your
center.
agenda for the next meeting?
We're on the agenda for the February 20th meeting, maybe? Yeah. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So out of the 12 that are going, 11 are seniors. I just wanted you guys to clarify exactly what you guys are going to be bringing back to the rest of your major, as you all are not going to be here come June.
Yes, of
Can
course.
I actually hit off that? So personally, I'm a senior. I'm looking into becoming a grad assistant here and getting an assistantship with the PESH program, where I personally am able to continue teaching classes on campus and further my education here, as well as we're going to be able to bring back all this content. My big thing is I'm looking for curriculum to help me when I start teaching, and if I'm able to find some curriculum that I find effective, that's easily able to be communicated and shared with the lower cohorts and even the professors.
Rattling off of that is after every conference we go to, because we also have the privilege of hosting the Shape Washington Health Conference just here in Mercer Hall, where we actually have a plethora of students who present. But we have meetings where every session we go to, and each student is required to attend 3 sessions a day. They have to bring back notes about what they learned, what they thought was effective, what they thought maybe wasn't effective, and then we share it aloud as the PESH upper cohort and the PESH lower cohort as well.
Which really comes down to mentorship. I know a big thing for us as the lower cohort last year was having that relationship with the upper cohort, which I would say a large portion of the lower cohort, not all, but a very large portion we do have a good bond with, which really helped us be where we are this year and be able to be as effective as we can be. So our hope is we can continue that, and that can continue within the major for years to come.
Any other questions? Thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you.
Oh, Lacey.
I will definitely be updating those forms so that you guys can have the budgets for both of those requests. So I'll email those out before the next meeting.
So next up is presentation 1938 for the Student Dance Association.
Oh, thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Caitlin. I'm the Vice President of the Student Dance Association.
I'm Tyler. I am a member of the Student Dance Association. I was Vice President last year.
Yes, so 2 Vice Presidents. But the Student Dance Association, we are a very new club on campus. We started last year with the start of our brand new dance major, which we're very excited about. But this is a picture of our club. That's not everyone, but that's everyone who attended the conference that we're trying to go to again last year. Basically what Student Dance Association is we meet every Friday in the pavilion back in the dance studio, and we put on master classes for either free or very low price for students, and we teach different dance styles, including cultural dance sometimes, ballroom, jazz, contemporary, all of that kind of stuff. And then we have extra performance opportunities for students because as dancers we love to perform. And then we also fundraise to send our students to conferences, which is why we're here. So today we are trying to come to American College Dance Association, so ACDA for short. And this is a Northwest Regional Dance Conference. So different colleges from all over our region are going to be attending. And it's going to be in Salt Lake City, Utah this year from March 13th through March 16th. We will be driving, so we have a little bit extra travel days added on there. And then ACDA is a couple of cool things. So one of the really cool opportunities that you get with ACDA is you get to go attend classes. So we can attend classes in tons of different dance styles, but also you can attend classes that teach you how to market yourself for auditions and stuff like that. Also, there are injury prevention type classes, which is huge for dance because it's a very physical activity, not always the best on your body.
We'll be taking about 4 to 5 classes a day while we're there. So we end up taking a lot of classes and cramming a lot of information and learning from a lot of people from around the country.
Yeah, and those people, like, they come from all different backgrounds, so it's really important for us to broaden our scope from, you know, taking classes from our 3 teachers here, you know, to be taking, you know, upwards of 15 classes from all kinds of different people. The other thing we'll be doing is performing. So we are taking 2 student choreographed pieces, one choreographed by Tyler, which we'll talk about in a second, and there are student performed as well. And so then when you perform it, you get to be adjudicated by a panel of dance professionals and then attend a critique session to kind of get feedback about your choreography and performance. And then it's also a really great networking opportunity. So it's a great opportunity for us as individuals to learn to network with other professionals and kind of get in. This industry is very heavy in networking, as are most performing arts. And it's also a great way for us to network our program to other schools and different people. Because, as I mentioned, we are a very, very new major. So it's important for us to get the word out there that we're here and we're thriving and we want more students to come. So that's all big stuff. And then this is one of our pieces, and Tyler will talk about that one.
So yeah, so this is my piece. It's the antidote. It's got 12 dancers in it. it's a really powerful piece about how negativity or negative thought can kind of spread through a community or a group of people, kind of like a virus, hence the name, the antidote. And kind of how all it really takes is like one person to come back and kind of push it back the other way and completely flip it around and make it a positive experience versus a negative one. Yeah, that's a picture of it. So the other dance that we're taking is duet. It's called Indifferent. It's kind of about how things go bad in relationships sometimes and how you struggle to fix them, sometimes you can't. Unfortunately in this duet, it was the sometimes you can't fix it. Kind of a harsh reality more or less. It is very impactful, it's beautifully done, and she wasn't here to talk about it, so I'm kind of just saying what I know about it. I kind of helped get into it when they were choreographing, so I know a little bit about it. But she's on her way to speak to Club Senate people, so she could not be here.
That's really cool. I love watching that one. So our budget actually changed a little bit since we turned in our forms. So our updated expenses, so we are housing is one of the things that we need to budget for. We are renting an Airbnb. It's about 5 minutes from the university. We like this because it gives us the opportunity to cook our own food, which saves costs. Also, it's much less expensive than a hotel.
About like $1,000.
Yeah, by a lot.
Significantly cheaper.
Also, we think it's more fun to hang out in the Airbnb, but mostly mitigating costs and being responsible. Travel, we are planning to take 2 12-seater vans from CWU Motor Pool. We already have them reserved. Now we just kind of have to pay for them. But yeah, so that's our travel. We try to mitigate costs of flying. Also, it's kind of hard to keep track of all the flying and stuff. So that's travel. And then registration is $145 per person. And then we have miscellaneous things. We will have to get a parking pass each day that we're there from the university. And then we just accounted for like road tolls and stuff as well. So that's our expenses. We're actually only asking for, what is it? $2,308.75 from the committee here today. We have fundraised quite a bit. We did a cornerstone takeover last year in preparation, so we've already been fundraising for a long time because we're so excited to come. We've done a couple of other fundraisers. We're trying to come up with new and unique ways to fundraise. Some of them haven't been as successful as others, but we're still out here trying. We are doing a Valentine's Day soiree. That's tomorrow on Valentine's Day. So, yes, so here's our little self-promo if you want to come support our club. We're going to be doing a dance lesson, and then it'll just be free open dance. We're going to have a live band. It's over in Sue Lombard tomorrow, but it is free for students and $5 for other members of the community to go. So bring your person. And then this is what we're asking from other groups. But yeah, are there any questions?
We love questions.
We love questions.
Edgar.
So it's not the $4,816?
No.
Okay.
No, yeah.
Eric.
And it's also not the 2,800.
Yeah, I apologize.
It's less, that's better.
Yes, it's less.
Any further questions? Greg.
And I think the minivans are less money, and with 14, I don't know how many they seat, you know, maybe it's, maybe you've already looked into all that and it's.
Yeah, we tried to get 15-person fans, but unfortunately they're not available anymore.
Right.
So we ended up having to get 2 12s, so that way we could accommodate us and all the stuff that we're going to be taking down there. Because the duet does involve chairs, so we need a little storage space to
Oh,
put
so
the
you
chairs
need
down with
the
us.
extra room.
But on average, the plane tickets at the time that we were making all these reservation stuff ranged from like $200 to $400. So it ended up being significantly cheaper to just take the van. And we get to road trip. Which not everybody's excited about, but
We have a playlist.
Some of
It's
us
gonna
are
be fun.
excited.
Any further questions? All right, seeing none, we'll be voting on this next week.
All right, thank you so much, guys.
See you this morning.
Yes, see you at the dance.
All right, now we'll jump into other business communications received. I have not received any.
I have. Hold on. We have follow-up from the West Side student who submitted a request for the K-18 Social Studies Conference, who sent an email. And I won't go into the full details of it because it's a pretty lengthy email. I can have it sent out. But in follow-up was really in similar concerns to what I shared before, but relaying this as well, and they're aware they can reach out to us. I may specifically reach out to you, Kane, as student government. Was concerned because again was told it wasn't necessary to attend the meeting. Felt that their lack of attending the meeting is what led to them not getting funded. And concerned again from the standpoint of students on the west side, the impact they have because they're viewing it as a differential impact to those students wanting to request funding and their ability to come before the committee or to be able to be available to answer questions when they do have night classes. So that is that one. The other one, which I do want to put in here, and I could have done it under advisor report, but for those who aren't aware, there is this week a student travel restriction for any student travel based on the weather pieces, is that students traveling during this week do need to use shuttles or charter buses, excuse me on that. So that has come out this week and has been sent out. I know specifically Lacey's side of the house and Circuit County has been working with a lot of the students. Some have, I believe, canceled or made other adjustments. We have a lot specifically because the NAFME group as well as the group going to Carnegie Hall, both pretty large groups, so trying to coordinate and figure out how best to navigate that. So we've had a lot of communication via that and discussion on that. And again, it's through this week, but it's going to be dependent on weather, on how that transpires. Really preventing students from taking individual personal cars in this weather to try and travel across the state outside of that. I do think there will be, based on some conversations, and again, public comments about to come up, so the dean may jump in here. Based on some conversations, I think there may be some discussion on looking at university policy and talking about for certain size groups, and again, at a policy kind of level piece, discussing about where we want to have in terms of a requirement or pieces with travel, requirements to use shuttle services or charter buses or things along those lines, just to avoid some of the concerns that arise within that. And so any of that comes up definitely will either solicit feedback from you all in advance, but also keep you updated on any of those discussions as they come up.
Yeah, so my other,
That was
finished,
mine.
right? So my other communication is mimicking that. I've been communicating with the music department. As the choir is leaving this week and also the NAFME is scheduled to leave, they have both groups have reserved a chartered bus for each trip. That's where they were at tonight, and so they're still trying to get arrangements for the other pieces, and just to be prepared, they're being pretty open about, especially NAFME, about maybe some other expenses that might pop up that weren't necessarily in their request. Not to like talk about what you guys have already funded, but just to be more upfront that they'll plan on having to somehow shuttle everybody around in Portland. So they made a comment about maybe potentially coming back, even though the trip has already been approved, there might be other expenses. And I informed them that they are more than welcome to fill out an additional supplemental request, but just be prepared that that might come back. And it is a smaller group from what I can tell than what they had originally thought was going to go.
Is this the 77 one?
Yes.
That was last week?
Mm-hmm. And so I don't have a final count yet. Again, I think it's going to be one of those things that we're going to be constantly communicating until we know. So we'll definitely give you another update once we have more information.
All right, so this is the second call for public comment. Is there any public comment at this time? Go ahead.
Thank you. So thanks for the opportunity to be here tonight and speak to you about that. You know, the university, I got together with other administrators on campus this week, and we were dealing with some faculty staff travel and some student travel where some students went out Some students got over the pass, some students didn't get over the pass, some students returned. And it's at that point that we got very concerned about putting students out there on the road for learning opportunities in a not so safe environment. You know, Ellensburg may seem very safe right now and kind of contained with the weather, but all around us, if you look at the weather from a regional standpoint, I think we were the only state university that was open yesterday. So it tells you kind of what the road conditions are in various regions of the state. So out of that concern and knowing the number of students we had going out, we decided in the best interest of the institution and to the safety of everybody to not put students on the road in a university vehicle or in a personal vehicle. So that's kind of the position and where we're at. It will provide us, I think, to have a larger conversation about what is the right way for students to travel and what's the safest way for students to travel. You know, is it a personal vehicle, is it a university fleet, or is it a charter of some sorts? We've got a variety of charter contracts that we process every day for some of our sports teams through athletics and sports clubs. We don't necessarily have that requirement for other student clubs and organizations. And I think from a risk liability standpoint, it's probably something to think about and something to talk about from a policy standpoint, because policy tends to be out there in front, and then it tends to shape good behavior based upon that from a public good standpoint. So it is something that you can anticipate, I guess, coming to this body for kind of review and reflection on what do you think, and I mean that in a very open way. What do you think about, you know, contemplating charter or shuttle requirements for maybe certain size groups, or maybe seasonally based upon the weather, or something that will help us shape it so we can apply some consistency in what's funded and what groups are requesting in front of this body. So with that, I guess I want to thank Joey and I want to thank Lacey, because I know you know, that administrative decision probably created a little bit of a workflow shift for many of you, and I know I've gotten phone calls and I know they've gotten phone calls for the most part with faculty and students that are wanting to honor the rationale behind that, but still wanting to participate in the activity. So we've been working to try and find safe ways for them to do that.
Eric, we have a question.
Yes. Is if that were to be implemented with requiring clubs to also get charters like a sports team, would that be a seamless transition, or would there be some having to renegotiate contracts with these?
Well, you know, my hope would be that the local charter companies, purely from a volume standpoint, would work with us on pricing. You know, you would think that might leverage cost a little differently. You know, we've had some sports teams going out. Some of our club sports had some commitments that this group funded, and the shuttles, at least through the conversations today with Matt that I had, they were increasing their rates, not knowing if they can get up and over the pass or not, wanting to make sure they could cover their costs in case they had to sit on the pass for hours or half a day before they had to return to campus. So it got really interesting today to try and shift from personal transportation to a shuttle. And I think if we had a contracted agreement that probably had a different volume aspect to it, I think the price per traveler cost would go down. I would assume. But we'd have to negotiate that and figure out how we want to contract that into our process. So Lacey might be able to speak to that as well, I guess. I know you work with athletics and the budgeting, and they charter almost everything. So
They probably charter about 99% of their travel. We do have a university contract with A&A Motor Coach that's based out of Yakima already, and so that's something that we can utilize. That doesn't mean we don't have other options. That's just our current partner right now. And I think really what we're dealing with is just the volume, like Greg was saying, is right now I think everybody's trying to get a bus, and so, you know, working out those finer details might take some time, but I'm sure it'll happen.
And the reason that, you know, athletics charters is they don't want a coach driving those long hours after coaching a game and working with athletes in order. They want athletes driving after they've competed on the court or the field. So it's it's a wise choice. It's a smart choice for everybody's safety.
And there's also another piece too, is the sheer volume of how many travelers are in those groups. When you're talking about whether one student is traveling or 30, it's going to be cheaper per student when you have a chartered bus, and so there is a rhyme and reason for that piece too.
So, thank you for the comment.
Is there any further public comment? Seeing none. Is there a motion for adjournment? Kane moves, Brandon seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? All those opposed? Any abstaining? And with that, we adjourn at 6:36.